In this video, we'll be creating your first automation in the Perygee platform. We'll start on the Workspace Overview page. Here, you can create a new automation by clicking plus Automation, or by in the side nav, choosing the workspace, clicking the plus icon, and saying New Automation. In the automation editor, you will first be prompted to select a triggering event. Here, you can select from the list of different triggers inside of Perygee. Some common ones are when email received, which will generate a unique email address to which you can send emails. Every time we receive a message at that address, we'll run your automation. Today we'll use the on-time interval. When you click on the node, the editor will come on the side. Every node has a different editor, and we've included helpful documentation in each editor to help explain how to properly configure this node. To add a new action, you can click on the little arrow beneath any existing node, and that will open the Add Step modal. Here, I'll select TypeScript code. This is a powerful node that allows you to write custom code and execute it inside of a Perygee automation. I can write the code myself, consulting the documentation, but I would prefer to use the Perygee architect. I'll open the architect panel by clicking on the chat bubble in the bottom right-hand corner, and then I will describe to the architect what I would like to do. I can either type or I can use my voice. I would like to use this node to generate 10 random integers. I'll send this message, and the architect will use the tools available to it based on the particular page we're on to help us with our task. Here, it's going to use some tools, consult some documentation, and then configure the node for us. If I'd like to test this, I can turn on the debugging mode, which will allow me to run each step in sequence. Here, I will run the node, and you'll see in the output section the different integers that were created. I can also ask for larger changes. Please send an email to justin@perygee.com with the generated numbers. The architect will make a plan and will modify the page, here adding a send email node and then configuring it in order to send me the different numbers. Here it noticed that it made a small mistake and it was able to fix it. I can also run this step, and shortly I'll receive an email. Here we can see that it was sent successfully. Once you have an automation to your desired state, you can press save. We will generate a helpful description for you, but you can also modify this version description to add your own. You can either save or save and deploy. The deployed version of an automation is the one that will run when the automation is triggered. In this case, let's save and deploy. Now you'll see that we are in the currently deployed version. And if I click on the versions tab, I can see that add daily random number generation is the newest version and the currently deployed version of this automation. I can click and view all prior versions, and I can also either deploy or edit from this version. This allows me to manage my changes over time. I can also run several nodes. Here I'm going to leave the debugger view, and then I'm going to trigger this automation to run right now. Normally, it would run at 9 a.m. Every day based on how it's configured. But here I will trigger it to run manually. This allows me to see that there's one run in the history. I can click and I can view the inputs and outputs for every single step. If I wanted to make a change, I can also say run interactively, which will load that particular automation run into my editing state. And this is a really helpful tool for debugging if one of your automation runs fails and you realize that you need to make a small change based on a particular input. The last thing to cover is the inactive and active. status. By default, inactive automations will not be triggered to run. And so here, even though this is configured to run every day at 9 a.m., it will only do so if the automation is active. I'm able to trigger it manually because I'm an editor, but this active inactive flag is really helpful when you're dealing with time triggers or email triggers or webhook triggers, where if you notice that there's a problem, you just want to deactivate the automation. This is the simplest way to control whether the automation will run or not. Now that we've sent the emails, I'll quickly show you what that looks like. Here we can see that I've received a few emails, and I believe these are the most recent ones.